From Pacifica, this is Democracy Now!
BP, in my opinion, will try to walk away as fast as they can. BP lowballed the size of the spill in the first week, saying it was 1,000 barrels. Then they said it was 5,000 barrels. They knew in the first week that it was a huge spill.
The BP oil spills worse than previously thought. 3/4 of the oil may still be lurking below the surface of the Gulf, posing a threat to the ecosystem and marine life. We'll speak with an oceanographer from Florida State University who testified on Capitol Hill and an independent journalist about the use of private contractors to spray toxic dispersants. But first, a Democracy Now! Global broadcast exclusive. We'll be joined by American journalist Jay Cass. He was arrested in Turkey nearly 2 weeks ago, accused of having ties with the banned Kurdish party. He was deported back to the United States this weekend. He'll join us from Boston. All that and more coming up. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A senior United Nations official said Sunday the lack of international support for Pakistan has been, quote, quite extraordinary. More than 20 million people have been affected by the massive flooding. UNICEF's Louis-Georges Arsenault said, quote, right now our level of needs in terms of funding is huge compared to what we've been receiving, even though this is by far the largest humanitarian crisis we've seen in decades. The flooding began in July but continues to wreak havoc across Pakistan. Over the weekend, at least 200,000 residents of Sindh province had to be evacuated as the flooding spread in southern Pakistan. John Holmes is the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs at the United Nations.
So we're running to play catch-up the whole time with a crisis which is enormous in scale, in numbers affected, in geographical scope. People are talking about 1/5 of the country underwater.
Meanwhile, in other news from Pakistan, at least 6 militants reportedly died Saturday in a U.S. drone strike in North Waziristan near the Afghan border. It was the second U.S. drone attack since massive floods hit Pakistan in late July. Israel and the Palestinian Authority have agreed to begin direct talks for the first time since late 2008. The talks between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas are set to begin on September 2nd. Abbas agreed to the talks despite Israel's steadfast refusal to freeze West Bank settlement expansion and stop demolishing Palestinian homes. According to the New York Times, one of the few publicly known gestures that Israel made was, quote, assurances to develop a part of the Dead Sea coast as a resort area for Palestinians, provided Israeli investors were included in the project. Saeb Erekat is the chief Palestinian negotiator.
The quartet invited both parties to join the launch of direct talks, and we accept this. It should be noted here that we hope that the Israeli government, when presented the choice between settlements and peace, that they will choose peace. If, for instance, on the 26th of September, the Israeli government will decide to introduce settlement tenders, I don't think we can continue the negotiations.
The founder of the whistleblowing website WikiLeaks has said accusations that he raped and molested 2 women are part of a dirty tricks campaign to discredit the website. On Friday, Swedish authorities issued an arrest warrant for Julian Assange on rape and molestation charges. Then on Saturday, the charges were dropped, but authorities say they're still investigating the molestation claim. Assange spoke with Al Jazeera over the weekend.
Any such claims are completely untrue, and they should be aware that there are significant forces that try to give rise to the various claims about this organization.
WikiLeaks volunteer Kristen Hrafnsson said the group had been warned about being the target of dirty tricks.
Well, this can only be a speculative thing. I mean, we have been warned ever since the leaking of the Afghan war diary that there would be an attempt by Pentagon to discredit WikiLeaks and its founder in some manner. Even a slander campaign was mentioned. So it is tempting to see these events in Stockholm in light of those warnings.
Here in New York, competing rallies were held Sunday for and against the planned construction of an Islamic cultural center in Lower Manhattan, 2 blocks from Ground Zero. The New York Daily News reported one group of opponents brought a life-size mock missile with a dummy terrorist draped over the top, holding a sign that read, "Obama, your middle name is Hussein, we understand. Bloomberg, what's your excuse?" New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg has been a vocal backer of the project. Daisy Khan, one of the leading organizers behind the Islamic Cultural Center, appeared on ABC's This Week Sunday.
We are deeply concerned because this is like a metastasized anti-Semitism. That's what we feel right now. It's not even Islamophobia, it's beyond Islamophobia. It's hate of Muslims.
At Sunday's rally against the Islamic Cultural Center, protesters included John Cartier.
I don't believe that every Muslim is a terrorist, but I do know that every terrorist that was on the planes that killed my brother was a Muslim. And I just don't feel that it's morally right and ethically right to put a mosque here where my brother was killed.
Benjamin Silverman took part in the competing rally to show support for the Cultural Center.
Stand for the right of individuals to practice their religion where they choose, and we want to stand against what is rapidly becoming a climate of fear, hatred, and Islamophobia.
The Army has launched an investigation into claims that dozens of soldiers were punished and locked in their barracks in Newport News, Virginia in May for not attending a Christian rock concert. Many of the soldiers, including several Muslims, refused to attend the concert based on their religious beliefs. The soldiers who didn't attend were ordered to clean up the barracks and were told not to use their cell phones or personal computers. The Army's top commander in Iraq, General Ray Odierno, admitted Sunday U.S. troops may stay in Iraq beyond the 2011 withdrawal date. Odierno made the comments on CNN's State of the Union.
If the government of Iraq requests some technical assistance in fielding systems that allow them to continue to protect themselves from external threats, we could be here. I mean, you know, we have agreements like that in Saudi Arabia. We have agreements like that in Egypt that continues to help them to develop their infrastructure and security architecture. If that's what we're talking about, potentially we could be there beyond 2011.
In other news from Iraq, a U.S. soldier was killed in a rocket attack in the southern province of Basra Sunday. This marks the first American fatality since Wednesday, when the Obama administration announced the last combat brigade had left Iraq. In Haiti, election authorities have released the names of 19 candidates who've qualified to run in the upcoming presidential election. Candidates include former Prime Minister Van Neptune, who was held as a political prisoner for 2 years following the 2004 coup that ousted Jean-Bertrand Aristide. 15 candidates were rejected, including the hip-hop singer Wyclef Jean, who said he plans to fight the ruling. Jean did not meet the requirement that presidential candidates have 5 consecutive years of residency in Haiti prior to the election. The Guardian newspaper reports a 3-year investigation by the United Nations is expected to almost entirely exonerate the oil company Shell for 40 years of oil pollution in the Niger Delta. According to the newspaper, the report claims that only 10% of oil pollution in Ogoniland has been caused by equipment failures and company negligence, that the rest has come from local people illegally stealing oil and sabotaging company pipelines. Last year, Amnesty International calculated the equivalent of at least 9 million barrels of oil has been spilled in the Delta over the past half-century, nearly twice as much as the 5 million barrels unleashed in the Gulf of Mexico by the BP Deepwater Horizon disaster. In Chile, 33 miners are still alive after being trapped underground for 2 weeks, but authorities say it could take months to reach the men. Over the weekend, the miners attached a note to a drill saying they were still alive inside the gold and copper mine. Rescuers plan to send narrow plastic tubes down the narrow borehole with food, hydration gels, and communication equipment. Here in New York, Republican gubernatorial candidate Carl Palladino has proposed transforming some New York prisons into dormitories for welfare recipients where they would work in state-sponsored jobs, get employment training, and take lessons in, quote, personal hygiene. In an interview with the Associated Press, Palladino said, quote, instead of handing out the welfare checks, we'll teach people how to earn their check. We'll teach them personal hygiene, the personal things they don't get when they come from dysfunctional homes. Palladino, who has become a Tea Party favorite, says the program would be voluntary.